Johnson Creek traffic, stationer 38 Mike at Gap, 180 back around into the pattern at Johnson Creek.
The Idaho Transportation Department's Division of Aeronautics manages more than 30 of Idaho's most beautiful backcountry airstrips. Many of these destinations are located in remote backcountry locations, making them difficult to access. Pilots planning on flying to these locations should plan ahead and have experience in mountain flying. We recommend that you take your first trip with an experienced pilot or instructor. One of our more popular destinations is the pristine Johnson Creek, located east of McCall, Idaho, near Yellow Pine. The big wide airfield and excellent facilities make it a great backcountry destination. The airfield, however, is in a steep mountain valley. The Division of Aeronautics wants to ensure that everyone has a safe and fun trip. Johnson Creek gets very busy several times each year. It has at times the highest concentration of aircraft among the vast network of Idaho backcountry airstrips. These procedures are designed to expedite the flow of traffic and safely get you in and out of Johnson Creek. There are approaches in from the north and the south, but the ridges among the east and the west prevent pilots from flying a regular traffic pattern. Aircraft arriving at Johnson Creek from the south will check in through the arrival point of Wapiti Meadows, which is about 3.5 miles south of Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek, stationer 38 Mike, Wapiti Meadows for landing Johnson Creek.
Per normal canyon rules, you'll offset to the right and fly up to the right side of the canyon. That will take you all the way into downwind for landing at Johnson Creek.
Johnson Creek traffic, stationer 38 Mike, left downwind. For landing Johnson Creek, we're going to circle over the field once prior to landing Johnson Creek.
Approaching Johnson Creek, pilots will see that the traffic pattern altitude is well below the ridgelines to either side of the runway. This will force you into flying a closer than normal upwind or downwind position around the airport. Flying abeam the airport, you will see the Bryant House. This is a noise-sensitive area. You'll use this portion of the traffic pattern for what we call shopping the airfield. You'll also run your checklist and make sure you know what's moving on the ground. Arrivals from the north will be approaching Yellow Pine, typically flying up that fork of the Salmon River from the west or from the east in the valley around Yellow Pine. Turning to the south, the visual checkpoint is Gap, which is a space in the hills just to the southwest of Yellow Pine.
Johnson Creek traffic, stationer 38 Mike at Gap, 180 back around into the pattern at Johnson Creek.
Proceed down the valley, again hugging the right side. This will put you close to the mountains and the trees while flying to upwind. Upwind at Johnson Creek will give you a view of the airport. It's a good time to assess the winds and run through your checklist. Remember, the Bryant House is a noise-sensitive area. Always fly around the Bryant House and never directly over it. Continue flying upwind until you're past the Bryant House and then turn crosswind. Typically, landings are to the south, and so an arrival from the south will go directly to downwind for the landing. Look for the sprinklers and cones and other obstacles that may be on the airfield. Watch for animals that are frequently out in that area. The base leg at Johnson Creek follows the contours of the terrain and extends around in the bowl to the north of Johnson Creek. For most aircraft, this pattern will line you up on a dogleg to final. Energy management is crucial, and if you arrive at half-mile final and you're too fast or too high, it's time to make an early decision for go-around. When executing the go-around, climb down the runway until high enough to offset to the right. If the go-around is started early, there is plenty of room around the trees to the right of the Bryant House. A late decision to go around may leave you unable to outclimb the trees and terrain. In this case, your best chance is toward the lower trees to the left of the Bryant House. That is also the recommended path for aircraft taking off on runway 17 to the south.
Johnson Creek traffic, stationary 38 Mike, taxi in for takeoff to the north, Johnson Creek.
Primary departure from Johnson Creek is to the north. You'll climb out up the valley toward Yellow Pine. Report passing Yellow Pine with direction of flight and altitude. If you are headed south, follow the same path toward Yellow Pine. Once you've achieved sufficient altitude near Yellow Pine, turn onto the upwind leg down the west side of the airport and continue south through Wapiti Meadows. Flying in the mountains of Idaho is a serious, challenging endeavor, and a number of recent accidents attest to that fact. Safe backcountry flying requires rock-solid skills in slow flight, airspeed control, intimate knowledge of your aircraft performance, and well-prescribed personal limitations. Most of all, safe backcountry flying requires the proper attitude, one that is safe, conservative, and professional. A safe flight is a stress-free and enjoyable flight.